Hello friends, today we will start the topic named Introduction to Spectroscopy. This is the very first topic from Organic Chemistry Semester 5 BSc 3. This topic includes, these are the main points, that is the meaning of spectroscopy, nature of electromagnetic radiation, that is wavelength, frequency, energy, amplitude, wave number, and their relationship. Then different units of measurement of wavelength frequency, different region of electromagnetic radiation, regions of electromagnetic radiations. These two parts are most important to understand the concept of spectroscopy and how it can be used for the structure determination. And the next one is, again, some basic involved in the spectroscopy is the interaction of radiation with matter, absorption, emission, fluorescence, and scattering, types of spectroscopy, and advantages of spectroscopic method with energy type and energy level of atoms and molecules. Then let's start. The very first point of this topic is the introduction to the spectroscopy. Then question arises, what is spectroscopy? That is the meaning of spectroscopy. Then the answer is that the spectroscopy is the study and measurement of interaction of radiant energy and the matter. Means we have to study the spectroscopy. Then spectroscopy involve the measurement of, which measurement? That is the interaction of radiant energy with the matter. When you can see a lot of radiant energy, this radiant energy interact with your matter. The matter is your chemical molecular formula or any chemical substances. When a radiant energy is force or interact with your matter, that is your chemical or any type of chemical structure, then it gives the valuable information from the unknown matter, is the study we call as spectroscopic analysis. Then when the matter is exposed to electromagnetic radiation, there can be reflection, absorption, emission, or scattering. When a matter is placed in the front of electromagnetic radiation, then this matter will be reflect some electromagnetic radiations. Sometimes it will be absorbed, sometimes it will be emission, and sometimes it will be scattered. Then this study is involved in the spectroscopy. Then the nature of interaction depends on the nature of radiation used and the matter involved. In this point, the nature of interaction, a lot of number of radiations are used, or number of radiation is obtained in nature. Then these radiations interact differently with different matter, so that a particular radiant energy is used for the analysis in the spectroscopy. Then the next one, spectroscopy involves expose the matter to a range of radiation. When your matter is kept in contact with various radiation with various range, and the measurement of radiation intensity as a function of wavelength. Here we can measure the radiation intensity as a function of wavelength. Then the response produced by the interaction are recorded in the form of spectrum. Imagine this is your radiant energy and this is your matter. Then this radiant energy emitted or bombarded on this matter, then this matter produces some interaction, and this interaction can be recorded in the form of spectrum, and this spectrum we can study it as spectral analysis. Then these responses being characteristics of the atom or molecule in the matter and can unfold the structural information. This is your molecule, this is your matter. This matter can give its structural information, or sometimes it gives its molecular formula, sometimes it gives us atomic connectivity, its size, its shape, the bond length involved in this chemical species, bond angle, relative orientation of group, stereochemistry, etc. And this can be analysis by use of spectroscopic technique. And this spectroscopic technique is widely used for determination of structure of an atom or molecule. Then the device used for the measurement are called as spectrometers. Here, this is your radiant energy, this is your matter. Then matter produces its response. This response can be collected and analyzed. We call as spectrometers. The device used for the measurement we call as spectrometers. Then spectroscopy is an extensively used and invaluable analytical technique in number of areas, including chemistry, physics, biology, medicine, ecology, and astronomy. Then we have to first study in chemistry the use of spectroscopy in chemistry and in its organic application. Suppose in nature you got you got an atom or molecule. Then question arises: the molecule, the structure of molecule, the size of molecule, the shape of molecule. After that, its name we have to find out. Then how you can find out the name or structure or bond angle, bond length, etc. Then you cannot see the molecule. So that we have to analyze the nature of size or shape of a molecule. Then we have to use the spectroscopy. Because the first concern of chemist is to reveal the constitution of molecule. If it is molecule, then we have to know that its constitution, its properties by its structure. So we have to determination of structure, we have to use the spectroscopy. And this is the most useful technique is used in organic applications. Then another one is that the physical method. In this method, we can find out the structure of molecule would have been observed it and under microscope. But the size of molecule is in order 10 to -7 to 10 to -8 centimeter. So even the best of the available microscope cannot reveal their structure. Hence establish the structure of the molecule. If the size of the structure is very, very small, that is in the range of 10 to -7 to 10 to -8 centimeter, in that case, we cannot determine its structure, its size and shape by any other microscope technique. In that case, we can use as physical method as well as chemical method for the structure determination. Mostly and most easy, most correct is spectroscopy. Then, before start the various types of spectroscopy, we can understand the radiant energy. The radiant energy is bombardment on the matter. So that we have to know that which radiation energy, that is electromagnetic radiation, we can use for the bombardment to the matter. Then question is nature of electromagnetic radiation. Then electromagnetic radiation is radiant energy emitted by a source into the surrounding environment. Yes, electromagnetic radiation is a radiant energy. It is a light. Then this light energy or radiant energy emitted by a source into the surrounding molecule. Then it is produced, this electromagnetic radiation can be produced by vibrating electric charge at the time of source. It consists of mutually perpendicular electric, that is E, and magnetic, that is H vector, which oscillates sinusoidally as the wave propagating at very high velocity. if you can see this diagram, in this diagram we can easily see here, this is electric energy. Yes, this is electrical energy, and this is magnetic vector. These are mutually perpendicular to each other and which can be sinusoidally travel in the direction of propagation. In the direction of propagation. One second. Okay. Then they do not require any medium for transmission. They can be travel sinusoidally mutually perpendicular to the electric as well as magnetic vector, and they pass any medium, and they do not require any medium for transmission. So each type of electromagnetic wave emitted by a source depends on its temperature. Anything that emits heat emits radiation across the entire spectrum, but in different amount. So basically, when from the source, the sinusoidally waves are propagated at a direction of propagation, then it is depends upon the temperature. Then, if we have to understand another one concept, that is various concepts are involved in electromagnetic radiation. Then start with the very first. The very first is wavelength, denoted by lambda. Then the wavelength, how it can be defined? It is the distance between two identical points on successive crest or successive trough of a wave. As you can see the figure 1.2, here we can show the wavelength, that is lambda. Wavelength, it is a distance between two identical points on successive crest or trough of a wave. This is your wave, and here two successive trough or two successive this is crest, above line is crest and below the line is trough. This is the wavelength. Then wavelength of an electromagnetic measure in different units. Then the wavelength varies largely with radiation use, so that units depend upon the nature of electromagnetic radiation use. In case of UV and visible radiations, it can be shown its unit as angstrom unit, and 1 angstrom unit is equal to 10 to minus 8 meter. Sorry. And at visible spectroscopy, unit is angstrom unit again, and here 1 angstrom unit is equal to 10 to minus 9 meter, or sometimes in visible spectroscopy it can be used as nanometer. In IR, that is micrometer, it is equal to 10 to minus 6 meter unit are used. Then second one definition is frequency. For frequency, it can be shown by mu. Frequency, it is defined as it is the number of complete cycle or wavelength passing through a point per second, starting from a wave at a certain point. How many complete cycles or wavelength are passed in a second, we call as frequency. This is one complete cycle. This is first one complete cycle. When you can compare with time, then this is a complete cycle in 1 second. It can be how many numbers are completed by this wavelength, we call as frequency. We compare with distance. in 1 centimeter, in 1 second or unit second, how many distance covered by a wave number, it is called as frequency. Again, the unit of frequency unit is cycle per second, that is CPS. Also called as CPS is called as Hertz, but most commonly it is called as megahertz. That is 1 megahertz equal to 100 CPS, that is 100 hertz. Then comparison between frequency and wave number. The frequency and wave number are electromagnetic frequency related with velocity of light, that is c. If you can compare mathematically, you can show as mu is equal to c upon lambda, where c is the velocity of light and lambda is the wavelength. Again, c velocity is a constant term, hence mu is equal to constant divided by wavelength. It means frequency and wavelength are inversely related with each other. If greater the frequency, then wavelength is smaller, or greater the wavelength, then frequency is the smaller, that is vice versa. Then frequency is inversely proportional to the wavelength. Next one definition is wave number, that is V. Wave number, it can be defined as it's the number of cycle or wavelength per centimeter distance. Its unit is centimeter inverse, that is we call as Kaiser. 1 Kaiser is equal to 1 centimeter inverse. The next one is amplitude, denoted by symbol A. Amplitude is the maximum displacement of wave from x-axis is called as amplitude of radiation. That is the maximum displacement of a single wave in direction of x-axis we call as its amplitude of radiation. Next one is velocity. Velocity is the distance traveled by a wave in unit time. That is unit time is 1 second, that is 1 minute, or sometimes 1 hour, sometimes 1 day. In unit time, a distance traveled by wave we call as its velocity. It is expressed in centimeter or meter per second. The velocity of radiation depends on the medium through which the radiation passes. In vacuum, its velocity is 3.0 into 10 to 8 meter per second. Energy, this is the last definition, that is energy, we call as E. Energy, electromagnetic wave carries energy. These electromagnetic radiations, electromagnetic waves carries energy in its oscillating electric and magnetic field. As the first we can talk about the electromagnetic radiation, the mutually perpendicular electric and magnetic field. This electric and magnetic field carries energy, but more practically, radiation carries energy in the form of energy packets or particle we call as quanta or photon. In simple language, this energy is in the form of energy packets, energy particles we call as photons. Then we can find out each photon has the discrete amount of energy and is given by Planck's equation. That is E is equal to h mu. This is equation number 2. Then h is Planck's constant. Then we can write as E is equal to constant multiplied by mu. Means the energy of photon is directly proportional to mu. That is mu is the frequency. Energy of photon is directly proportional to the frequency. From equation 1 and equation 2, here in the slide we can display equation 1.1 and equation 1.2. 1.1 is mu is equal to c upon lambda, and equation second is E is equal to h mu. Here E is equal to h mu, that is equation number 2, 1.2. Then the value of mu is given by equation number 1, that is c upon lambda. E is equal to h multiplied by c divided by lambda. This is equation number 1.3. Here h and c h is Planck's constant and c is velocity of light and the velocity of radiation. These two terms are constant. Then we can write as E is equal to constant divided by lambda. So that the energy of a monochromatic light is inversely proportional to the wavelength. By using above equation, we can consider, or we can say that the energy of an monochromatic light is inversely proportional to the wavelength. So that equation 1.3 we can write as E is equal to H multiplied by mu bar multiplied by C. Means mu bar is the 1 upon lambda. Equation 1.4 says that the photon energy depends upon wavelength or frequency or wave number only, not on the intensity of radiation. The energy emitted by the source depends upon the wavelength or frequency or wave number, not upon its intensity. Intensity determines the number of photons in the beam. The unit of energy is Ergs or Joule. The radiation having waves of identical wavelength, frequency, amplitude carries photon of same quantum of energy we call as monochromatic radiation. Again, I can repeat the monochromatic radiation. The radiation having the waves of identical wavelength, frequency, amplitude carries a photon of same quantum of energy we call as monochromatic radiation. Okay, friends, this is the first lecture on this topic. After some times, we will display the second lecture. Thank you very much.